All right, we got a spicy one for you. This one is Cure's Proxy 2 Rex against Dark. This was in the Korean Starcraft League 2. Again, if you watch the last two videos, Beyond, we covered a couple of his videos from that series. Those guys are doing great. I'm actually going to pause really quickly. There's a lot to talk about in the very beginning because this is, as you can see in the right side, this is only a 4-minute game. So expect a good amount of pausing. We're going to be focusing on very micro details today. Proxy 2 Rexes, first and foremost, aren't supposed to kill your opponent. Let's get that out of the way. I still think that knowing this as a cheese, air quotes, because it does normally lead into a macro game, it's a very good skill to have. It's very useful. It helps train your micro. It helps train little things, and I think it's a very useful skill to have in any Terran toolset. So with that kind of out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the game. Let me pull up my notes, make sure I'm looking at the right stuff. Link to the replay, notes, and build order are in the description below. Not the description, sorry, the comment section below. I've also started to include the spawning tool as well, so you can see more information on the build order that I don't normally put in there. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So for the Proxy 2 racks, the most important thing is how saturated we're staying at home. So Cure starts off by mining 2 rounds, and if you don't want to remember, mining 2 to 2.5 rounds with all your SCVs, right before this guy's about to spawn, we're going to send our first SCV out. The guy that spawns, this is our normal build. We're going to just go ahead and start a supply depot with this guy, and then we're going to send out our next guy. So, excuse me, in that quick span of, what was that, maybe 4 seconds? In that quick span of 4 seconds, we sent our first SCV out. Our SCV spawned. He's building a supply depot. As soon as this goes down, just went down, we're pulling this guy that just distributed minerals, and we're gonna send him to a pretty swanky spot, in my opinion. Now, as someone who was a GM Zerg back in 2016, this, depending on what league you're in, where you place the barracks may or may not be a big deal. You want them relatively close, usually in a position where they won't be scouted or it's harder to scout. Really good Zerg players, generally what they'll do is they'll send out this first Overlord. As soon as the game starts, they'll send it out to proper proxy locations. Other ones that are in maybe lower leagues are just going to send it straight across the map. Well, not this guy. This is the second Overlord. They're going to send it straight across the map right into your natural. So it's pretty common to try to hide your barracks and out of the way of the Overlord scout. Now, we are going to notice that Dark does still scout this Proxy 2 racks, but still does a lot of damage, and that's going to be huge. But yeah, depending on what league, you may or may not be scouted by Overlords. Just remember that. And so depending on where you put it is kind of important. So on Royal Blood, for instance, Cure is going to put him right here, right next to this 4th position. It's not a long walk distance from this choke point of the natural. So that's good news. Our depot's done. We did cut SCV production, so I'm gonna go back just a smidge, a little bit more. So this is also big. So our first guy went out, our second guy went out, our depot's coming up. We're getting SCV still, but we're gonna stop after this guy right here. No more SCVs. As soon as we have 12 workers on minerals, this is very important. 12 workers on minerals. This is where you want to make sure you stop at for the time being until you get your 2 barracks up. So you can get your first barracks, and then check this out. As soon as he gets 150, his second barracks is going down right next to it. Perfect timing. Now after that, we had 12 on here. Our guy that was building this supply depot came back up to make it a nice, I almost said even number of 13. A nice number of 13, which is great news. Now we can go ahead and start up another SCV. We could probably start up, I think we start up 2 more. We're going to get our gas over here because, like I said, this is a macro build. This isn't a cheese. Yeah, we're getting our next. Okay, we're getting 2 more SCVs, so we're going up to a total of 16 SCVs at the mineral line plus gas. So right here, Dark does scout our proxy 2 racks, but you know what? Say okay. It's not like we're getting canceled the 2 racks. I mean, like, we're already committed. Our gas is done, and we put 2 guys on. We're going 3 out of 3 gas, and we want to make sure we're maintaining that about 12 workers on this mineral line at all times. We did make an extra one. This guy's going to go and start helping building stuff around our base. We start our orbital because our barracks is done. Our marine, we started our marine first. I'd say this is kind of important. Start your marine first before your orbital, and then get your orbital up while your second barracks is still finishing. I gotta sneeze. Nope, it went away. This will help us maintain a good economic lead. We're getting our next supply depot. You can remember, as soon as your second barracks is done, go ahead and start your second supply depot. Or as soon as you start your orbital, get your supply depot. And we're constantly making marines now. The nice thing about making an orbital is we can't build SCVs, so we just have a ton of money right now. And I really like this. We're leading with our 2 SCVs, and we're building our bunker in this choke point. So we aren't right up next to the hatchery. That is not good. That's a mistake I do see frequently. People will put their bunkers like way too close. They'll try to go here. They'll try to put it more towards the ramp. They'll try to put it way back here. The issue with putting a bunker way back here, especially if it's scouted, is look at this path your Marines have to go. They have to go doop, and then they get to here, right? Which could already have lings here. And then they have to go up and around and get to the bunker that's back here. Or they have to go even further down here, or queens could attack it from the high ground. There's just a lot of things. So this bunker position in the choke point, it's a good enough range away that it will deal damage to the hatchery. The Marines don't have an insane distance to walk, and it's pretty easy for them to walk in a straight line and get there. You can rally pretty much. Now Dark does something a little bit interesting here. He's going for the spawning Marines. He's going for the reinforcing ones. The bunker is going up, and then he brings a lot of drones. And look at this micro. This is the insane part. Watch Cure's micro here. He's just backing up, and he's only clicking on individual drones. Focus firing is so important here. Losing Marines, super important. Those are the 2 things you want to do. I would say keeping your Marines alive is more important than focus firing, but in that order, Marine alive, focus fire drones, deal as much damage as possible. If you are going to lose this bunker, try to salvage it. It costs 100 minerals, you get 75 back. That's a great deal, and it buys a lot of time for you. Now, normally here, this is where a lot of Proxy 2 racks fail. So let's go back in time because we were looking at the micro of things. If we look back at the base of Cure, and he is actually a little bit late on this. We'll throw that out there. So this is going up. We're starting our bunker over here, but look at our minerals and gas. We are at 80 gas. We're at 130 minerals. We're constantly producing Marines. We're starting our SCV production because our orbital just finished at home. And now we have 100 gas. We just need our 150 minerals for our factory. So as soon as we get about 100 minerals, we run down and we're going to throw down our factory at home. No. Okay. All right. He started a SCV first. And that is pretty important. But look at the damage he's getting done too. Here it goes, right here. Yep. There's our factory. So meanwhile, as we were talking about this, we're at the exact same spot now. We have the Lynx attacking the bunker. We have our Marines doing an insane amount of damage to the drones because Dark committed really hard to the defense before Lings were up because he went hatch first. He had to. We didn't get the salvage, but I mean, we've killed 9 drones, so we're sitting pretty. And now we're just trying to kill as many Lings as possible. These guys are not going to live. Unfortunately, there's like nothing we can really do, but we could try to do more damage. Also, I really love this positioning of the Marines. And this is something else that Kier does that I really like, actually. Because his opponent went hatch first, because he lost a ton of drones, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to float my barracks just yet just because it failed. I'm actually going to start up 2 Reapers. Because I know your speed's not coming. I know you don't have any money because you're trying to make drones after this pure annihilation. You don't have any queens. Like, you have 1 queen maybe. But with how much larva and minerals you spent, there's no shot you have anything to defend. And this 1 Marine is just a hero, man. So we're going to go ahead and start up 2 Reapers at home. We're starting up, our factory is almost done. And then Kier drops his 2nd command center, which I really like this move. He did enough damage. We want to expand. That's something that's, really important to make sure we maintain that lead. So we have our 2nd command center going down right around the time our factory is finishing. Good way to remember that. We got fully saturated mineral line. We have fully saturated 1 gas, and we're going to start our 2nd gas here pretty soon. And we throw down that reactor to get the wall off. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of how you can kind of transition from here after we kind of see what happens, because I think it's interesting. But our Reaper comes out. Our 2nd Reaper is about to pop. Oh no, we have a wall off. These 2 Zerglings aren't going to do anything. I do see, this is really important. At home, make sure you have your wall off. If you're going to go for Banshee play afterwards, you don't really need this reactor out front. What you can do instead is put your factory directly in the wall. And that way you can make 1 or 2 Hellions and then get your starport out quicker. That way you can get your Banshees with Cloak out at a little bit more of a reasonable pace. As long as you have 1 or 2 Hellions, especially if, I would say, this is a really smart move from Kier, sorry, because he knows that Dark has no Zerglings. Like, those Marines at the barracks killed so many Zerglings, and 2 Zerglings are going to get through. So I'm just going to go ahead and work on tech. I'm going to get my reactor up, and I'm chilling. Then, with our 2 Reapers, because we know our opponent's down, I said down bad. Yeah, because Dark's real down bad right now. We're just going to jump into the main base and check that out. The Queen's not even done yet. He still has no workers. Speed isn't done yet. It's about halfway. And Dark says GG. He's out. He bounces. So let's go into a little bit more detail. So the 2 racks, obviously, like I said in the very beginning, it's not supposed to kill your opponent, but sometimes it does, and that's great. Sometimes you're just ahead, and sometimes you mess up so horribly that you just lose the game. Those are all things that can happen. And really a lot of the time it comes down to how the Zerg started the game, right? Obviously, the Proxy 2 racks is a semi-blind counter to hatch first, which is probably and arguably the most common opening that Zerg does versus Terran. They'll usually go hatch first, and then they'll do gas pool. So their speed is usually a little bit delayed, because usually if you do it in that order, you have your queens out, you have about 4 lings to hold off any Reaper harass until, you get to the point where you have 3-ish queens, 3 to 4 queens, you have a few Reapers, you have ling speed, and you're able just to hold them off. Now, if they go hatch first and you go Proxy 2 racks, you're sitting in a pretty good position because you're forcing them to pull drones, right? In order to defend and not lose the game instantly, they have to pull some drones. Or what they can do is they can give up this bottom hatchery. Or what's also a win in our book, if they build spine crawlers. Because a spine crawler does 2 things for us. 1, it kills a drone. And 2, it takes up 100 minerals, which is basically 2 more drones or 4 lings, right? So it's a huge investment, and they're stationary, they're static defense, right? So yeah, they can move around, but if you have Reapers, you just don't go into the natural, you just jump into the main base and start dealing damage. Now let's kind of jump into how would you transition out of this, right? So say you got good damage, say you're in Kier's position, say your opponent didn't GG out, instead you end up losing these 2 Reapers to some lings, or something happens, right? Or you decide, hey, I didn't get enough damage done, so I'm not going to make the Reapers in the first place. I'm actually going to float my barracks back. So the 2 ways, there's a lot of ways you can transition out of this, which makes it good. First off, the first two things you can do with your barracks, you can send them back home to land them. You can send one home to land it while you send the other one in to scout and just see exactly what the Zerg has. Those are like basically the two main options. I do recommend floating them because otherwise you're just not going to be able to produce units from them for a long time. At home, we have our factory. Like I said, we're getting our reactor to finish that wall off. We're teching ahead. We're sitting at a pretty good ecosystem or economy. We have 18 workers on mineral. We have 3 on gas. We could start our second gas. We can get our starport. We can go into Banshees. We can do this reactor, get up to 4 to 8 Hellions, and then also get on the starport with Banshees. You can go into Battle Cruiser if you want to. That's a little psycho, actually. I don't know if I'd recommend that one because we don't have our second base fully established. You can literally just go into like a normal map game. It's basically like starting off with a 2-1-1, right? You have your 2 barracks. You're gonna fly these guys home. You're gonna start a tech lab on one, a reactor on the other one, or maybe not. Maybe you'll start a tech lab on one. You'll make 1 or 2 Hellions, and then you'll swap your barracks and your factory. Start pumping out more Marines. You can go into very easy bio from here on. You can tack on another barracks. With a starport, go up to 3 racks, 1 starport, 1 factory, and then you can just work on your bio, get some siege tanks out, or you can make this reactor and go into widow mines. Like, that's the best part about Terran, right? You've set up the game. You're in a position to where if you check out the workers, I mean, yes, 23 to 20, but that's not good for Zerg. That means Zerg is dangerously behind, right? Zerg wants to be ahead on workers at all times. They're not as efficient on miners as SCVs plus mules, so we are definitely ahead. We stopped this third base. That's the main thing we want to focus on, is making sure this third base, we know when it's going up, if we can prevent it, if we can attack it, everything like that. And yeah, we just set ourselves up for a really good mid game. I think my personal choice here is you get the second CC up, you throw up your starport, you go into Banshees, you make a couple Hellions here. I'd say you go to 4 to 6 Hellions. Then depending on your play style, that's really what you choose to do. You can go into bio. I mean, you already have the 2 racks. You can switch into tech, or you can switch into mech by throwing down another factory and getting tech lab with some cyclones. But yeah, you're just in a great position here. And Proxy 2 racks is a beautiful kind of tool to have in your tool belt, to say. So I would like to just kind of start from the beginning, and we're going to go to Kier's point of view. This is something I don't really do very often, but we're just going to go faster, and we're just going to watch everything that he does one more time for like a quick little idea. So our first guy's out there, our supply depot starting, our second guy's out there. This is just such a quick game that I might as well watch it on ×2 speed. First barracks, our guy goes back. We stopped SCV production. Second barracks, we start SCV production. We make 3 SCVs, get our orbital, get our gas, and we're chilling. Yeah, overall wonderful game by Akir though. And Dark just kind of messed up. He even had the scout. He knew it was coming, and it's still ended up doing too much damage. So leading with those SCVs gets the bunker and the choke point. And making sure we keep those Marines alive because they are big snowball units. Try to just stutter step, focus fire as much as possible. Lead them to the barracks. Because if you lead them to the barracks, then your reinforcements are quicker. It's basically like having defender's advantage. And then just kind of kiting around doing our thing. And Dark's pretty much dead. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a little bit of a weird one, not normal to what we've kind of been doing, but I've been experimenting a lot with the series. So if you liked it, drop a comment, like, all that good YouTube stuff. As I said previously, in the comment section below, there is notes, replay, and build order with a link to spawning tool in the build order spreadsheet. So go ahead, check that out at your convenience. Let me know what I can improve on, anything, what you guys would like to see, if there's any specific players you want to check out. or specific build orders you want to know about, let me know. And yeah, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.